All right, shalawam. First off, I want to say praises to Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of GMS, to the elect of the work in sincerity and the truth. Shalom. There's GMS precepts here, Nazar Khad, and you know, I don't know a title to this yet, but pretty much is gonna go into the resilience of Jake, right? The resilience of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? Because going through our history, no other nation can go through what we went through, um, because they just weren't. No other nation is as strong. Matter of fact, before I go Peters, I'm gonna go to Genesis. I'm gonna go to Genesis, right? And this is sort of like an uplifting lesson. If you go into, is it 20? Could be 20. Yeah. What does it say when Jacob was born? It says one will be stronger, right? One is stronger than the other. Two manner. Here it is. This is Genesis 25 and 23, right? And this is concerning the birth of Jacob and Edom, right? Jake, meaning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Edom being you Edomites, you so-called white people today, right? That's where you come from, right? And this is Genesis 25 and 23. It says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations. I'm going straight to the point. And two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, right? And that's speaking about the two people, like it's going to go into, is speaking about Jacob and Edom, right? Now we know Esau, so called white people, they're different, right? Now, when I say so called white people, you could have um, an Israelite have the features, physical features, or look like an Edomite. They can even look like any other nation, but it's all based on their spirit, right? So I'm saying, when I say white people, making it just for, I'm just, trying to make it plain here, right? If you come from Edom, then uh, you're just born different, man, right? The Spirit had us going through that at camp. Um, Psalms 58, I believe it says they are estranged from the womb, speaking lies, right? That y'all, Edom, you are just created to be a spiritual. You were just an evil, wicked person, man. You were just programmed. You were programmed. You were chosen to be the wicked, and the Most High can do that. So, Psalms, uh, or Proverbs 16:4, right? The Most High can create whatever He wants to for whatever reason He deems fit. And Esau, you were created to be that wicked ruler, to be a punishment not only on the other nations but primarily the nation of Israel. And then after that, you're just gonna after the Most High uses you for what He wants to, He's gonna get rid of you. He's gonna get rid of the nation of Edom. Okay, right? So you were just created. The manner of which you are, your spirit is just totally wicked. You're totally adverse to righteousness. That's how it's like. That's how you were created. If this was like a file or a type of program, the Most High programmed you to be wicked, right? And the Most High programmed the nation of Israel, Jacob, to be different also, right? Which we're going into. So going over, it says, this is Genesis 25 and 23. It says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So this is the point I wanted, right? It says, and one people shall be what? Shall be stronger, right? And that's going into mentally and physically and spiritually, right? And why is that? Because we are the chosen. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the chosen nation. And because we are the chosen nation, we have certain abilities and gifts. All right, and That's the point of the whole lesson, right? The resilience and the strength of Jacob, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, despite our history and us being under subjection countless times through multiple nations, through multiple slavery and atrocities, you fast forward today and we're still the strongest people, right? We're still gifted, we're still chosen, we're still special, we're still the most sought after, we're still the most copied, right? Admired in our low, right? And that's pretty much showing you, and that also shows you who the true chosen people of the Lord are. The chosen people are gonna. It says or speaks about them being a peculiar people, right? And despite all our faults, because I'm not saying we're obviously you know um according to prophecy, a lot of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are not gonna make it. A lot of you are wicked, but at the end of the day, we're still Israel. We're still that chosen seed, and we're still that light amongst the whole world, right? We're still that salt, right? And salt, if you know anything about salt, it's very healthy for the body, and it gives a lot of flavor to food, right? So anyway, let me. It's not gonna be a a long video, but yeah. I mean, if you're going through the history, and I got this pretty much lined up, and I have one more scripture in Peter's. But if you go through our history, all the slavery, all the persecution, like I was going into Exodus, we went into. If you go into the book of Exodus, we went into the land of Egypt with only 70 souls, and we left a multitude. We left, we left Egypt during the Exodus. We left as a multitude, right? So even though we were, and this is one of the reasons why that Pharaoh, he put us under subjection, because he feared us. He was like, yo, these Israelites, they came in 70 souls, but look how they're growing. And he said, you know what? We got to put these Israelites in slavery lest they take us over. You know what? Since I mentioned it, Exodus. That's the first chapter. What is it? Here it is. I'll cut a few verses. This is Exodus 1 and 8. Well, I'll start at look. Exodus 1 and 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and what? And what? Whack exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose, let's go into, let's see what the word they got for that, man. Exceeding mighty. It says, were fruitful and increased abundantly. Right? What is this word? Is this abundant? I'm sorry, I didn't even know. So black. Anyway, it says to team, swarm, multiply, swarm, to swarm. What word is this for? Multiplied. That was from multiplied. Right? No, I'm sorry. That wasn't multiply. This is multiply. It says become great, become many, become much, numerous. Right? Multiply to grow great, to make large, increase, be many. Right? You get the point. That was for the word multiply. I think that was for abundant, increased. Did I? This is for, okay, that was abundant. To team, swarm, multiply. Okay. Wax exceeding mighty. Right? Mighty, the following spelling. It says to the vast, numerous, mighty, strong. Anyway, the point's made. We grew to a point where that current Pharaoh, he feared us. He feared the nation of Israel. Right? So this is right, and this is a good, and this is good to read, because it gives you the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. I think we suffer, and this is also what makes us strong. Despite us, we suffer mentally because we grow up not having a history. We're just told we came from uh, the jungles of Africa, um, swinging on trees, and then we came over here in slavery. The natives are also the natives. They have at least they know a little bit more, but their history starts uh, not too long before Columbus came over, right? And the same, So, but we have a history, and our history is found in the scriptures, man. And we are a mighty and strong people, and a nation to be feared. We're not feared now, but when the Most High was dealing with us, the nation of Israel was feared. And this is you Hotep niggas. I don't know where you niggas at, but you strive to be the Egyptians. But here it is: the Egyptians feared the nation of Israel to the point where I was like, yo, we got to put these guys in slavery, man. Look how fast and numerous and exceedingly large they're growing, man. Anyway, it says, now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, come on, let us deal wisely with them. Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. So get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. Right. So that's going into this account, right? And there are plenty of accounts where, and mind you, this was only allowed to happen, because the Most High said it so, right? The only way a nation can take over us is if the Most High allows it, right? So knowing that, the Most High is also, according to prophecy, going to allow the nation of Israel to rise, and come out of slavery or out of that subjection that we're under currently. We just have to wait on Yahawashi, right? Okay, right. So and that was one account, and there are plenty other accounts. Like I'm saying, if you want to go to recent history, really, American history, um, even though Esau doesn't want to go into it, slavery is American history, right? It's how this America was established, right? It was how Esau was able to make a lot of money through the foundation and the creation of America through the blood, sweat, and tears of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, so that's not really spoken of. They want to, sweep that under the rug. But it's the same situation in Egypt. Egypt was made great. They built cities through this blood, sweat, and tears of Israelites. No different from today, right? Also, if you go into history, you'll see um, there are a lot of pyramids that were built here on this side, right? There were a lot of pyramids. I got books. They got the books, The Natives by James Adair, and so forth, right? They got a lot of books proving that the natives here, they spoke a broken version, a broken dialect of Hebrew, or Lashon Kodash, right? Right. So proving that what it was the same people that was enslaved in Egypt. Anyway, reading on suffering, right? Um, that suffering that the nation of Israel has continuously had to go through is about to come at an end. You're gonna get that, and you can read that in what is that? Lamentations, the fourth chapter, right? Our suffering, our sin, our punishment for our sin is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, right? So that's something good to look forward to, right? But let me read here. It says this is as you can see, it says share the sufferings of Yahawashi. This is First Peter 4. I'll start at 12. It says, Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as some strange thing happened unto you, right? And that's a good mentality to have, especially when you call yourself a believer of Yahawah or Yahawashi. You notice I didn't say it, but believer of Christ, right? What is that? 24 chapter, Matthew 24 speaks of many Christ, or many what is that? Also, John speaks of many antichrists, right? But there are many people that are gonna call or us to look to be, uh, aka Christ. You even got those purple guys. They even say that word. They love that word. They love that guy, right? But meaning the sufferings of his true name is Yahawashi, right? So if you uh, call yourself a believer and a follower of Yahawah or Yahawashi, and you acknowledge that you're a Hebrew Israelite, expect things to happen. Second Ezra's, what is that? Ecclesiastes, the second chapter, or is it Wisdom of Solomon? The second chapter goes into what to expect when you cross that line, right? Verse 13, it says, But rejoice in as much as ye are partakers of Yahawashi's sufferings, right? Because Yahawashi suffered also, right? He had a lot to deal with when he was Yahawashi, right? When he had, he dealt with a lot. He had to deal with the majority of the nation of Israel coming against him, not respecting him. His own hometown. Oh, what is that? Ain't that Joseph and Mary's son, right? He caught a lot of headaches from his own people. You see, so he suffered a lot. Also, we also have to suffer too, right? But rejoice in as much as ye are partakers of Yahawashi's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy, right? So it's a prize at the end of all the suffering that we're currently going through, whether it be from our family, whether it be from our own people, whether it be from just everybody. We suffer a lot, but it's considered a blessing when we suffer for the sake of Yahawashi, right? If ye be reproached for the name of Yahawashi, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified, right? So we glorify. And how do you glorify Yahawah or Yahawashi? In that name. The name. That's how you glorify us, and as well as doing what he expects you to do. And that's the main thing, is going out there, believing on him. And if you're chosen to, go out there and speak, man. Go out there and teach and bring others in. All this thing is we're bidding people to the marriage. We're bidding people to this big party. And that big party is the nation of Israel, the chosen, accepting Yahawah Yahawashi, and repenting for their sins and their transgressions. In turn, you will be delivered. That's all this thing is, man. Okay, and if you see prophecy, man, if you see all these things happening, you can see that we're coming very, very, very close to that time, right? For the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Right? You don't want to suffer for wickedness' sake, man. You want to suffer for righteousness' sake. It's a difference. Okay? Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. Christian meaning a follower of Yahawashi. I don't like that word Christian either, but meaning of Yahawashi Mashiach, right? Let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify the Most High on this behalf. Okay, and that's pretty much. I could continue. It says, "For this time, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High?" And that's a group or position you don't want to take, or a group you don't want to be in. Right? You don't want to be the one that are being judged by the Most High for not obeying or not following the gospel of the Most High, man. Okay? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Okay? Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of the Most High commit the keeping of their souls to Him in well doing, as unto a faithful Creator, right? Because he's going to keep His word. He's going to deliver you. He's going to deliver the elect. It's all if you are part of that number or not, right? But overall, I'm going into the resilience and strength of Jake. You know, we're a special people um, um, out of the whole nation, you know, that we can continually get persecuted by other nations and still have that strength. Okay, and a lot of that comes from um, us being who we are, and that's a chosen nation, right? And I'll say something about the 2/3. Even them, Romans, it says they have a zeal for the Most High, but not according to knowledge, right? Right, but they still have that zeal. No other nation has that zeal, man. Only the nation of Israel, right? But zeal or no zeal, if you ain't got the zeal in righteousness, the point in this, you know, if you don't have that zeal in righteousness, the Most High is just gonna get rid of you. Okay, but you know that was just an example of the strength of Israel and the resilience of Israel. But that's all due to us being who we are, right? The Most High made us to be stronger than any other nation, mentally, physically, spiritually. Okay, and that's how we're able to get through all those um, uh, different, you know, that's how we were able to get through all the slavery that we went through throughout our history and still make it today. But now, the only ones that are going to make it, well, all Israel is going to make it, all Israel is going to be in the kingdom, but the only ones that are going to make it through the perilous times to come is the elect, right? The ones that suffer for Yahawashi's sake. That's who you want to be a part of, right? So that's pretty much it. Lord willing, you brothers and sisters were edified. Until the next show. Shalawam.